Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I see a lot of familiar names on the chat, so I'm excited about that. Um, so today you have myself, Gwen Hill. Ann Parsons is actually traveling today, my co-chair and right arm, along with Jessica. Jessica's like the octopus arms, like she's got all eight of them. But Ann is actually traveling for shows. Gwen Hill again, exhibit force, and 25 years in the industry. Again, I recognize a lot of names coming in, so I'm excited to see you guys. And Jessica, I will let you introduce yourself if you would like here.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, my name is Jessica Sibilla. I am the executive director of the Exhibitor Advocate. I have also been in the industry for over 20 years. Started in the industry and on the show management side, and then spent most of my career as an exhibitor. So just like you guys, I have gone through all of the pain and the success of being an exhibitor and absolutely love what we do. So we're excited to have you guys as members. We're excited to share with you today kind of all the things that we do and how you can get more involved in the organization. And I'm here to help. So if there's any questions that I can answer either during the session or afterwards, or if there is support that you need when you're on show site in the next few months, feel free to reach out. We're always here to help.
Absolutely. Also, just want to point out that Jessica is the one staff member that we have on the council, so that's good. But we also have board of directors. So if you recognize some of these folks, or even if you don't, I highly, highly recommend that you hop onto LinkedIn and connect with them because they're amazing people. Kind of like this guy Joe that just showed up on my screen as well. It's funny to see you as a new member here. I'm just saying.
And Joe
And
is actually one of the newest board members beginning his term in January. So he's not pictured here, but we're excited that he was voted in by all of our members and excited to have his representation starting in January.
so again, you'll see Joe's picture on one of these in the future slides. But at this point, we also, and I know Jessica is going to talk about this a little bit later. And some of you on this call, I know at least one person may have gotten an email from me saying, hey, you really need to apply to this and, support the industry, but also because we're as passionate as we are about all of this. So, who we are, our mission, as new members, I am positive that you guys have seen this and hopefully it's starting to resonate with you on how important this group is. My personal self, my favorite quote about this whole group is when you bring this many, brands together and a community of all of our suppliers and industry folks, we really can move mountains together when we, work together towards this mission. So we are the Exhibitor Advocate, the only nonprofit association, of course, that's wholly dedicated to trade show exhibitors' success. So it's very important, and you'll hear this throughout the whole presentation about how we do want to know if you're running into, whether it's problems or maybe it's even feedback about, hey, this show's doing it right. We want to know all the good, the bad, and the ugly because that's really how we can, further promote. Our goal is to just improve this whole industry, make it really good for all the newbies out there as well. So, benefits of membership. Let's see. First of all, lifelong friends. I'll just put that on there because it's not on this list, but it's a true statement. When we all go to the shows together and see each other time and time again, it really does help build that community. I always say we are the, largest smallest niche market in the world. And so it is a small, community if you really think about it. And a lot of people know a lot of folks. But the other thing is, as newcomers come into the industry, I think, offering them guidance, so advice and ideas, and again, bringing your knowledge together along with all of these others really helps build that. Access to cutting edge research, exclusive conversations with industry experts. Every time I'm on a call with whether it's the council or like my next meeting is with the membership committee, it's listening and learning from each other, in what we all are dealing with in this industry, but also, the special members only webinars. So let me tell you, there's been AI webinars for daily use, not just, on the masses. Some other webinars, we just did the RFP session, which was really well attended, but also I'm proud to say that it was one of the sessions also that will be welcomed at Exhibitor Live. So keep an eye out for that. And then I know, and Jessica, if you have any info on the member directory, but I know that's to come. And then of course, supporting the industry, just the advocate work across all of the exhibitors.
Yeah, you guys were really excited about creating a platform where exhibitors can talk to each other, share best practices, ask questions, navigate those challenges that pop up on the show floor, especially when you guys are all at the same show together. So we are currently working on our website and a way to incorporate that platform into the site so that it will be easy to have that peer-to-peer networking through a member directory and be able to reach out to folks that you are interested in talking to at your shows. So that's coming. It's really a logistical challenge for us. And so once we get the right platform integrated into our website, then we'll be sharing that out with you right away.
And then just to talk about membership levels. So membership will always be free. There are sessions, and you will see this, but you also receive the email newsletters, the blog articles, but you can, for the individual education or as a company, have access to more information, including, again, talking about some of the webinars coming up. Like there's a 3-session on budgeting, different things like that are, it's relevant information, but also a lot of the research. I know that on some of the like survey reports and different things like that, in some instances, it would cost, maybe $100 or something to pay for something, but yet this would get you free access to that as well. And again, I'll ask Jessica if there's anything else she'd like to add to this.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, we put out the annual survey of exhibition rates. This is a survey that looks at the average rates across approximately 25 cities so that you understand the average rates for things like labor and material handling, but also things like carpet and wastebaskets. You can use the survey to budget for your upcoming shows for the next year, knowing, especially if you move from city to city, how those prices might change as you go into a different city. That survey alone is $250. And so for $50 more, you get access to all of our resources, which includes all of our webinars, like the 3 series budgeting seminars that are coming up this year. You get access to things like the AI seminar. We have a ton of resources on our site that will help you literally navigate the challenges, ask the right questions, budget for your events, and all of that comes from an education subscription at $299 a year. So it's a great value, and we highly encourage those of you that are looking for tangible resources, whether you're new or seasoned, we've got something for everybody. So take a look at that. We'd love to have you guys subscribe to the education as well.
And correct me if I'm wrong, and hopefully I'm not misspeaking, but am I right in saying that they get this last quarter included in that if they do the $299?
You get 365 days. So from the time that
That's
you
right.
sign up.
Same
So if
here.
you sign up now, the 3 seminar budgeting sessions, which start October 21st, it's $99 for those 3 sessions. Sign up now and you get those 3 sessions plus the annual survey, which will come out in like that Q1 timeframe next year. So a huge value if you if you sign up right now.
Gotcha. And also as a reminder, as part of those sessions, and as I mentioned a moment ago, the RFP, that's also a template that's available. So a lot of the sessions, I'm happy to say that it is truly, information takeaway, that you can use for the future.
Yeah,
So
tactical resources that
yes.
really do. It's not just theory, it's actual things that you can use.
Right. No, I think that's wonderful. Um, so best way, of course, is to get involved. Everybody can, the old gym membership, conversations about you gotta go to see the change. But the best way really is to be involved. But like I also mentioned, it's having those conversations. I mean, the membership committee, the folks that I have met on there, again, lifelong friends, I have no doubt, but also people that we talk about other things than just the membership committee. We talk about what's going on with different shows, things that are happening in the industry in general. But you can also, we have a bit of an application process for you to participate, but it's also designed to help us get you in the right spot. What's going to be relevant to you, what's important to you. If you like copywriting, well, we've got the right part for you, different things like that. The other thing I love about it is, and as I mentioned, Ann Parsons is co-chair of the membership committee. So we really do delve up, the different work, if you will. But it's more so about reaching out and just building that community. Sponsorship activations, again, another options. And the biggest thing is just telling your peers. I know there used to be some industry stat that when you left a show, someone would tell up to 6 people about that particular show. So be that person, but also when you're at the show, having the conversations, especially if, somebody's, having a challenge, give them some direction. Feel free to just send them right to our website. We'll have a QR code at the end of the presentation as well. I know that Jessica and them, Glenda, I believe, is also collecting exhibitor and show kits because we want that information. You can actually submit those online, also through the website. And again, tell your story or contact us if you need help.
Yeah, the other thing that's happening right now is we are looking for exhibitors who are interested in being part of our advocate council. So this is a group of people that meet on a monthly basis, sometimes lead these committees that Gwen is talking about. And these are the people that keep our finger on the pulse of what's happening in the industry. So on a monthly basis, they provide to me information on what's happening at their shows. Help guide us as an organization as to what resources would be the most beneficial, shows that are doing things well, and how we might be able to reach out to them and do some sort of a blog post or a highlight of the great things that are happening in the industry. They also provide to us ideas about seminars and different ways that we can engage our membership. So it's a very active group that gets involved and shares our work with their network and their peers. And so if that sounds like something that you're interested in doing and really advocating and amplifying the voice of your peers, your exhibitors, it's a great way to get involved. And it's not a huge lift. It's really just about sharing what you're passionate about in this industry. So I'll put a link to the application here in the chat. And yeah, if it's something that's of interest, feel free to reach out to me as well.
And so speaking about some of the information that comes from these types of meetings, one of the things I want to point out is that when we have these discussions with new members or anyone really, they tell us like, hey, we're new to the industry. It'd be great. Where do we go to find like RFP information, things to get started? So that's actually where some of these webinars and seminars come from. So I know for the RFP one, that was specifically based on a webinar that was just done earlier this year. And everybody is like, hey, we need some help in, putting things together or coming up with ways to, be specific about projects. Again, the budget, I think that's another one. And I've already signed up for everything. So, definitely, do that yourselves, but keep in mind that, you get all 3 sessions for that flat rate, or for the $299, you would get this as well as all the future webinars and reports, as Jessica mentioned a moment ago. The other one is the small booth, big impact. I'm excited about that because this is actually, I think it's under $35,000 is the budget limit on that. And so we've invited exhibit house companies and suppliers and agencies to present some of their small booth, big impact ideas. And so that's going to be part of that. And I know I've seen all the flurry of emails going on about that and the excitement building. And then, of course, Jessica is going to be here in my backyard in Houston at Expo. So I was like, I didn't even realize it was in Houston this year. So I was like, well, after I get back from EDPA, might hop over to Expo. Anything else, Jessica, on this note?
I think it's just important to point out that, providing you resources and education is just part of what we do. The other thing that's really important is advocating for exhibitors in this industry. And so when we go to events like Expo, we have a CEM course, a required CEM course in partnership with IAEE, where we are sharing with show organizers directly what the challenges are that exhibitors are facing today. And we provide them solutions that they can implement for their show based on the needs of their particular exhibitors. So when you tell us that rising cost is your number one issue, and that the ways that you are trying to solve that issue is by decreasing your booth size, decreasing the number of events that you're going to, or decreasing sponsorships, all of those things affect the show organizer's revenue. They don't necessarily affect your cost for show services. And so that's a really important element that we want show organizers to understand, because they're going to come to you and ask for more booth space and more sponsorship dollars. And if they're not negotiating on your behalf for those show services, you don't have the budget to be able to spend in those ways. So these are the things that we share with show organizers. We have relationships with Freeman and GES where we're sharing with them the challenges that you all are facing and implementing solutions that in some ways get your money back if you've been double charged or overcharged. So there's a lot of behind the scenes work that we're doing on your behalf. And we're trying to get better about sharing what that is. But we really do try to make sure that your voice is heard and that you have support, that you're not alone, and we are here to help you.
So this is also just to touch on some of the things that we have done in the past for past engagements. And again, a little bit of info about each, and then also noting that like the sustainability sourcing compass, that's, available to all members. So clicking into that. And all of the links and everything will be obviously part of this presentation for afterwards. But there's a lot of information just directly on the website, just browsing around. So all good. And then we do have some questions for you that we're going to ask momentarily, but we want to know, what questions do you first have for us? And we'll let, I know Jessica's running the mics over there, so I'll let her, if folks would like to unmute and chime in. Any questions? This is usually when things start going yeah, going going down some rabbit holes in
While
a
you
good
guys
way.
are thinking about your questions, like
Yes.
Gwen said, we do have questions for you. We'd love to hear from you. This is not only an opportunity for you to get your questions answered, but we've taken the opportunity to understand what you need from this organization that you're a member of. So we would love to know a couple of these things. Gwen, I'll let you kind of go through it here. We'll see who's got something to provide to us as feedback.
So, question one, what do you hope to get from the exhibitor advocate? Why are you a member? What what are your, you know, what magic wand, if it could change your world, what would it do? Any responses on that? I'm sure somebody's got something out there.
Hey
Oh my.
Gwen, I'll start things, and I'm going to also apologize for the noise. But this is called multitasking. I'm in my basement on my treadmill, killing two birds with one stone. So
I love it.
bear with me as I talk through winded breath. And I think Meredith Kalisiak, who is my colleague, is also on this call. So I think I'll speak probably for both of us. But Meredith and I are both bona fide meetings people who have been thrust into the Congress and exhibit world. And I think for us, the appeal of the exhibitor advocate was just a new resource to maybe connect more with our industry in a different level. I attended Exhibitor Live in 2024. Meredith and I were both at HCEA earlier this year, where we found a lot of being in a room with our own people, you know, with people from the healthcare space, definitely was more valuable than my experience at Exhibitor Live per se. But I think, you know, what we're trying to get is just insights and information, ways that we can help our organization see the value of congresses. You know, Jessica, you talked earlier, I think it was you mentioned about when companies start to downsize, they have less money to spend. That's us.
Yeah.
We're in this situation where, you know, a third of my shows for fiscal year 25 were cut. And that's where I need to be able to say, we shouldn't cut any of our shows. We should think differently about our presence.
Yeah.
But our team is seen as logisticians.
Yeah.
And we need help changing that perception to being strategic business partners and not just the people who get the booth there and make it all happen.
Yeah, Tom, I completely agree with you. And I think that is one of the things that we have heard from a lot of members is how do we level up that conversation, right? And so when we talk about it, really what it comes down to is measurement, because your leadership is measuring the spend that you are spending on your congresses against other marketing channels. And the cost of these shows has gotten so high recently that when leadership is looking at that number on a spreadsheet, right, on paper, they're saying, why am I spending this money? What am I getting out of it? And how does it compare to the data or information that I'm getting from these other channels? So part of the reason that we decided to do this budgeting seminar series as a series is because there's not only the budgeting piece of how do we think about our spend for the future year, but also how do we plan to measure that spend, determine where the value is, and then defend it to our leadership. So I think you would actually get a ton of value out of these next 3 seminars. And I'd be happy to share with you more about what it is that we're going to provide to you in that. But I think you'll get some tangible takeaways that will help you defend that spend moving forward. And maybe the budget cut is helpful, right? Maybe it makes you prove out which shows are going to be the most valuable. So I think you can use it to your advantage in this situation, and we'll show you how to do that. Cool, great. I will say, if I can plug Joe Fetterbush, who's on the call here, he will be the speaker for our third budgeting and measurement session. Kimberly Key, if you're familiar with her name, she is an incredible exhibitor who has done a lot around budgeting. She will be our speaker for the first two budgeting seminars. And we just really think that this 1-2 punch of the two of them around, tactical budgeting and measurement is going to be incredibly valuable to you.
Nice. Like I said, I've already signed up, so I'm definitely, I'm anxious to hear. Anyone else? What again do you hope to get from this membership?
Hi everyone. What's up, Heather? Good to see you. And Gwen and Jess. But I think the networking too, the connections, because it's so many like-minded people, dealing with the same issues and challenges, whether like Tom, like you mentioned about healthcare, or if you're tech or manufacturing, we're all dealing with it. So the collaboration, like learning how to negotiate, Jess, I know that's something you guys really preach. Negotiating with suppliers and organizers on like what can we do differently, better, just because the form says it's this much, does that really mean we have to pay that much? Things like that. So that's what I'm looking forward to most.
Yeah, I will say we had was it the RFP seminar, Gwen, or I think it was something else. We had a seminar and we were talking about the way that you can advocate for negotiating rates. And one of the exhibitors piped in and said, well, I know that we can't change the rate. It is what it is. And I was like, oh no, you don't even realize, but you can change the rate. But what it takes for you to change the rate is to press your show organizer with data about the challenges that you're having to spend appropriately at their show in order to reach your target market, in order to break through the noise. And you need their help to negotiate your show services rates to allow you to bring the products that you want to bring to market yourself to your target audience. You need their help in sharing the data so that you can do some outreach pre-show to make sure that you're having solid conversations with the target audience that you want to see. So there is a pervasive expectation or perception that exhibitors just can't do anything about it. And we want to change that perception because it is not true. And I think we're all tired of just being told, well, that's just the way it is. It doesn't have to be that way. And so we are here to make that change in this industry because without the exhibitors, a show doesn't happen. So we need to be seen as the critical stakeholders that we are, and we need to have a seat at the table. And I think we have a lot of opportunity and a lot of runway to show that to our show organizers and our suppliers in the industry. And we're excited to lead that charge.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
oh,
Go ahead, Joe.
sorry. I was going to say with that, like so many show organizers and associations, they're great, but there's others that they forget that you're the customer.
Yeah.
They act like you're obligated to be in their show and that you're like, oh, you're so lucky to be in their show. You're the customer. And you should they should treat you like a customer, and we should act like customers and not be bossed around unnecessarily or not get the information we need or the responses we need, because again, we are the customer. So treat us that way.
Yep, that's right.
I just wanted to also remind my favorite story, Jessica, is the one about the 24-hour, electric. People, think post-show that, oh, it's over. Well, I'm just going to pay what I'm going to pay. But again, coming together as this community and being part of this membership includes those conversations of, hey, we got charged for 24-hour power. Well, then when you go back and, where the stories are that people actually got refunded because of how it worked out. But it's by having the conversations that, make those things happen.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really good story. The Las Vegas Convention Center charged one of our members 24-hour power and on-off service, power service. And so they came to us and said, this doesn't make sense. Like, why would you charge me for both turning on and off my service? Because that was required by the union in the Las Vegas Convention Center. But I paid for 24-hour power. So why would I have to pay to turn it on and off? And so we reached out to the GC that managed that show and asked, why is this the rule? What is happening here? And they agreed that it was double charging. And so we were able to get that exhibitor's money back and had it refunded within a week of the conversation, if not less. I don't want to over promise there, but I'm pretty sure it was within days, not week, that, we were able to resolve that for them. We had another exhibitor that contacted us after we'd done a presentation and said, hey, I've been going back and forth. I don't understand my invoice. It seems like I've been double charged. I've got 2 invoices. It seems like they charged me for the same thing twice. And they'd been going back and forth with their show organizer and the GC for 6 weeks. And within 48 hours, we were able to make one phone call and get that resolved for them right away. So, it doesn't happen that quickly for everybody, but just making the phone call, we have the relationships that will help you get to the right person who can fix your challenge right away. And that's part of the value that we bring to you as a member.
Okay.
I have a question, and I'm kind of from maybe totally left field on this, but so I have a passion for sustainability, as some of you guys know, and I've been speaking to clients and sometimes at industry events. And more recently, I know there is a very large push from a lot of our clients that are exhibitors, primarily from the healthcare space, to hit certain global standards for sustainability. And the pressure is getting harder and harder with this. And I'm kind of tasked to try to figure out, like, how do we keep our commitments from a supplier's perspective when even some of our clients may or may not want to make some of the changes. So I don't know an answer to it. I know that some of our clients need us to, like, for example, reduce our scopes 1, 2, and 3 by a certain percentage by a certain date, with scope 3 being some of the exhibitors from our other programs. How are other people doing it? So whether it's maybe case studies or examples or best practices, or maybe even like some sort of reporting standard of yes, no, we're kind of setting our own up. But like, if there's something across the industry that you guys are working on, I'd be interested in seeing it.
Yeah. So Heather, you might be familiar with the EIC, EDPA, and ESCA IAEE standards that they just put out about sustainability for booth building.
Yeah.
I think that's an incredibly helpful resource, and we have a link to it on our website. For us, it doesn't go quite far enough for the exhibitor. So, as an exhibitor myself, when I was trying to incorporate sustainability into my program, it wasn't just about the booth build. It was also about the water usage. It was about our electrical usage in the venue. And that is not today something that is easily reported on. So part of what we're doing with the Exhibitor Advocate is having conversations with show organizers and with other associations like IAVM, the Association for Venue Managers, IAEE, to help them understand the questions that exhibitors are going to ask. If the venue can understand the water usage or the electrical usage for a show, then the show can disseminate that information or amortize it based on the number of exhibitors that they might have had.
Like a
And I think
standard report that each
that's right.
vendor and stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. And so I don't think we're very close to it. I think we have a long way to go to get there, but those conversations need to happen now because I don't think venues and organizers are thinking about it from the exhibitor's perspective.
Mhm.
And so we need to push for that. And
Yeah,
part
and
of
that's probably
doing
why they
that-
don't maybe want to do it, because to commit themselves and not have the ability to have access to the information.
Right. That's right. So part of doing that is starting with the question. And we just put out an open source document on how to ask sustainability questions in an RFP. Your exhibitors are going to ask you that in the booth build situation, right? But they also need to be asking those questions when they decide to go to a hotel or when they work with a food and beverage vendor. And so that RFP document, which is called the Sustainability Sourcing Compass,
I
is
saw it on there. I was
incredibly
trying to get the, it was like a hashtag or /events, but
Yes.
I
Yes.
didn't know if there's more to it or if there's just, yeah.
No,
I'll
there
find it, though.
is. Let me pull it up and I will put it in the chat so that you have direct access to it. You I think you do not have to be a member to access it, if I remember correctly. So it's one of the few things where you don't have to give us all your information. But it's a great resource to start with. And then, that's where we want to hear from our members of, what are you doing? And let us share those best practices and hopefully create an addendum for the booth stand build that's more specific to exhibitors.
Very good. Okay. Any others before we move on? Okay. How would you guys like for us to communicate or how would you like to hear communications from us? I know we have a newsletter, we do a lot of LinkedIn posts. Any other platforms or things that you suggest? And how often? That's another one.
When my answer to that is regardless of the medium, whether it's emails, newsletters, LinkedIn, anything that starts with bullet points gets my attention. But when I get something that looks like it's going to be a 12-minute read, I zone out immediately. So from a communication standpoint, providing that little abstract or, again, executive summary up front is what's going to then tell me if it's worth investing my time. Because let's face it, as a society, we live in communication overload.
Right.
So we have to pick and choose what we read, when we read, why we read. And if there's not a compelling reason in the first inch of that communication, I'm out.
Yeah. I think that's all
So
of us,
helpful.
unfortunately, but true.
No, that's so helpful, Tom. I mean, we know you guys are busy, and so we are trying very hard to make sure that our newsletters and our communication is direct and succinct and interesting to look at and helpful. And it's not just copy on a page. So I'm going to make sure that you have our most recent newsletter. I would love your feedback on it if you think it's not hitting the mark. Because this is incredible feedback and we appreciate it very much.
Yes.
Absolutely. And Jessica, I have 4 hours on a train next week. Be a good time to dive in and really look at stuff like that.
Great.
And provide some honest feedback. Now, I'm going to preface that and say I was born and raised in Jersey, so we only have the truth. There's no mincing of words. But if you want feedback, I'm happy to provide it.
I love the truth. I welcome all the good, bad, and the ugly, Tom. Bring it on.
Noted.
Love it. That's funny. I actually know someone in the industry, was the owner of an exhibit house company, who said that they would allocate half their lunch was just reading articles and emails and industry stuff because they never took time to do it otherwise.
They get a lunch?
Exactly. That's what all of us said. And they were like, wow, that's impressive. Yeah, it's like that 15 minutes, go. And then, also what education or resources do you need from us that you feel like that you may have not heard about today or have seen on the website? And again, if think about some of this stuff, feel free to email us this information, because this is how we build upon all of this and keep giving you what you need. Anything? No?
Gwen, I'll have you put your email in the chat. My email is in there as well. And we've dropped some links in here for the Sustainability Sourcing Compass, also for the events that are coming up. When you click on that link, you can see what seminars are coming up. I will give you a sneak peek that in Q1 of next year, we have some hot conversations coming around drayage and unions that I think you will want to be a part of. So keep an eye on that events page and make sure that you share our work with your network. You will, as a member, you get our email newsletter approximately once a week that only has in there the stuff that we think you can actually use. So we're not sending you, to Tom's point, we're not going to send you a big long email about, what's happening in the industry and what do you think about it and all these things. It's like short snippets of what's going on, what do you need to know, how do you get involved. So we're hoping that really hits the mark for you. And if there are things that you need that you don't have, let us know. We are a small but mighty group. And so sometimes it takes us a little bit of time to get there. And funding is part of that, right? We need to be able to access funding to be able to provide these resources to you. So that's why we push for things like the education subscription. So we will work on your behalf incredibly hard and try to make sure that we get everything that you need as fast as we can.
And also, as new members, don't forget to utilize this. Some folks have actually posted it directly on LinkedIn and explain why they're a part of this membership. And, we invite you to do the same thing. Again, the more that you can share this information with your, other like people, as Tom said earlier, I love that, the logisticians, right?
Logistician.
Logistician. I'll have to practice that one. But I love it. I got that written there. But this was a good one from John Wolf when he initially became a member and explained his story and why he thought it was important. So feel free to do the same. Also, we want to take a moment to really thank our sponsors, our partners. Obviously, we couldn't do it without them. And again, going back to what Jessica just said, even on the educational access or the company-wide access, having those that support us is what helps us provide all these resources and to make these things happen.
Yeah, we are 100% funded by our sponsors and donors right now. So we look forward to evening that out a little bit with our education subscriptions. But you guys, these are the people that make what we do possible, as Gwen said. And so if they can help you out as well, take a look at them. We've been incredibly fortunate to have the support of these folks who really understand the importance of exhibitors in our industry. So we really appreciate everything they've done to keep us going.
Right. And then, of course, all the information that we promised, but really, again, sharing the link to the website or checking out the website under resources, under about us, there's the events, there's just a wealth of information. There's also a link for you, again, to share your stories or concerns or, again, passing that on to others. My information is now in the comment section. Feel free to reach out to either one of us. If I don't know the answers, I know the folks that do, so I can definitely get you to the right spot.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time. We know you're busy, especially right now in the fall. So please reach out if you have additional input for us, additional feedback. We're happy to hear it. We're here for you. You are not alone in this. So reach out, let us know how we can help, and we will continue advocating on your behalf.